Y&R Spoilers reveal that Phyllis Summers, a character who is always full of scheming and tricks on the young and the restless, continues to conquer the audience with bold and unexpected moves in the power play she always participates in. However, this time, the betrayal she caused not only shocked Billy Abbott but also showed her ability to exploit her advantage more ruthlessly and sophisticatedly than ever. Phyllis, a person who never stays out of the fight, is ready to find out all the information, all the secrets of the enemy, and it seems that she has just found an important piece in Billy's story. Phyllis begins to suspect that the person who is manipulating all of Billy's activities is none other than Tucker McCall, a powerful and equally dangerous name in the business world. Phyllis, with many years of experience in investigating and discovering secrets, has noticed suspicious signs in the meetings and agreements between Billy and Tucker. To be sure of this, Phyllis decided that she could not act alone. She needed the support of people with greater influence, and in this case, none other than Jack Abbott, whom she knew could provide the necessary and powerful support. However, Phyllis's plan did not stop at finding out who was behind everything. She began a relationship with Victor Newman, one of the most powerful figures in the business world and with whom Phyllis had always had a complicated relationship. Victor, who was known for his ruthless strategy and willingness to take advantage of any opportunity to achieve his goals, could not resist the temptation to gain intelligence from Phyllis. But Phyllis, who was secretive and did not trust anyone easily, was in no hurry to give Victor the valuable information she knew about Billy and Tucker. She demanded a commitment before sharing any information. "Only if you promise me something worthy will I tell you everything I know about Billy Abbott and Aristotle Dumas," Phyllis firmly replied to Victor's request. Phyllis's wariness was not without reason. She knew that sharing information without assurance could expose her to unforeseen risks. And this was not too difficult to understand when the relationship between her and Victor was always covered by complex layers of power and interests. She not only wanted to put Billy in a difficult position but also wanted to protect her interests in every situation. Phyllis knew that information about Billy's plan could be the key to regaining power and carrying out her own schemes. While Billy always appeared confident and thought that Phyllis would never betray him, Sally Spectra, who had repeatedly warned Billy about the threat from Phyllis, thought that Phyllis would not miss this opportunity. In fact, Phyllis has been working on her plan for a long time and is quietly uncovering the secrets that Billy has kept hidden. Although Billy is still unaware of the impending betrayal, Phyllis has important clues. Not only does she figure out that Tucker is the one manipulating Billy, but she also realizes that Billy's big plan, bringing Chancellor back, may actually be a ploy to take over another company that Aristotle Dumas really wants, not Abbott Communications as Billy thought. This creates a tense situation where Billy is faced with an unforeseen danger, especially when the complicated relationships between the parties are pushed to the brink of collapse. Billy, in his naivety and lack of vigilance, cannot imagine that Phyllis would betray him. He never thought that Phyllis, whom he considered a valuable ally, could use all the information against him. However, as Billy's plans and schemes begin to unravel, he will face serious consequences. Billy may not easily accept the fact that his oldest companion is the one who can put him in a difficult position, and when Victor receives intelligence from Phyllis, Billy's next steps will determine his fate. This will not only be a great challenge for Billy, but also raise the question of whether he can overcome the betrayal of the person he trusted the most, or will he be caught up in a whirlwind of calculations and intrigues that he cannot control. All Billy can do now is find a way to deal with the complexity of these relationships and whether he can find a way to turn the situation around, avoiding punishment from Victor and Phyllis. Meanwhile, Phyllis continues to make calculated moves, not only to get revenge on Billy, but also to solidify her position in this world full of intrigue and challenge. She knows that this is her last chance to prove herself, and to regain the power she once had. And as things gradually become clear, the big questions will be raised. Will Phyllis succeed in regaining the initiative, or will Billy have a way to turn the tables and make her regret betraying him? The answer will only be revealed in the next episodes of The Young and the Restless, when every relationship is tested to the highest level. Phyllis Summers, a woman who never backs down from a challenge, has always been known for her bold plans and ruthlessness in the face of betrayal and failure. But this time, Phyllis is not only pushed into a difficult situation, but also faces a big shock, when the person she once trusted, Billy Abbott, mercilessly fires her from Abbott Communications. Not only does Phyllis lose her job, she also loses a part of the power she has worked so hard to build up over the years. However, Phyllis is not the type to give up easily. In her despair, she decides not to let this failure bury her. Instead, she begins to look for a way to fight back, to prove that Phyllis Summers can always turn things around. And then, in a twist that will surprise even longtime viewers, Phyllis discovers an unexpected opportunity for revenge, a conversation between Billy and Sally Spectra, two people she hates. Phyllis, in her relentless quest to climb back to the top of the ladder, accidentally overhears a conversation between Billy and Sally, a conversation that could change the entire power dynamic in Genoa City. This conversation opens a new door for Phyllis, an opportunity to not only get revenge on Billy, but also turn the tables on the power struggle in Genoa. Not only does Phyllis find herself defeated once again, but she also realizes that Billy and Sally are standing over her shoulders, laughing at her success. But Phyllis doesn't always accept defeat easily. After Billy fires her from Abbott Communications, she falls into a state of despair that is beyond words. She has always been shrewd and calculating, but this time, she can't help but feel bitter. That's why she turns to her son, Daniel Romalotti, to force him to join a vague business project she has planned. With a look of despair in her eyes, Phyllis meets Daniel at Crimson Lights. While everyone around her continues to live their lives, Phyllis puts her son in a difficult position. She not only wants Daniel to stand by her side in this fight, but also wants him to help her carry out the revenge plans she has long been planning. With uncontrollable anger, Phyllis pushes Daniel to join the project that she believes will help her return to power, to help her prove that even when she is defeated, she can still rise strong. At this time, Phyllis can't help but feel angry as she watches Sally's rise, whom she has always considered an unworthy opponent. Phyllis can't help but emphasize her annoyance at Sally's easy admission to Abbott Communications thanks to her relationship with Billy. Phyllis doesn't hesitate to quip, she's only good at sewing and moving pillows, and she got her job because of her boyfriend. This is Phyllis's bitter remark, reflecting her deep anger and disappointment at seeing someone she considers an inferior take the position she always wanted. Phyllis, despite all she's been through, has no intention of letting go. She wants Sally and Billy to pay for the betrayal she suffered. One of the things that sets Phyllis apart from other characters in this film is her ability to turn pain into motivation for action. And now, Phyllis is not only out for revenge, but she is out to prove that her replacement at Abbott Communications was not a stumble but a strategic move. Phyllis knew she had to act carefully and wisely. The betrayal she suffered was not only from Billy but also from those she had trusted. However, she also knew that her revenge would not be a simple retribution. Phyllis, as a player in the power struggle, always knew that only sharp and clever planning could help her turn the tables. In the upcoming episodes, viewers will witness Phyllis continue to uncover Billy and Sally's secrets, thereby devising a revenge strategy that no one expected. And even though Billy thinks he has eliminated Phyllis, her revenge will surely cause him to face serious consequences, not only the failure of his job but also the destruction of the relationships he thought he had control of. But can Phyllis successfully turn things around, or will her resentment cause her to lose control? One thing is for sure, no one in Genoa City can take Phyllis Summers for granted. She is a woman who always knows how to find opportunity in any situation, and with the help of her son, she will fight relentlessly to regain her power and reputation. Phyllis Summers has always been a woman who never stands still, especially when she feels betrayed or pushed into a position of weakness. And this time, after being fired from Abbott Communications by Billy Abbott and witnessing the rise of Sally Spectra, Phyllis is back with ruthless schemes. But this time, she is not fighting alone. Phyllis finds an opportunity to turn things around and regain power, an opportunity that comes from Billy, the man she once trusted. The story begins when Phyllis, by chance, overhears a conversation between Billy and Sally, and from there, everything changes. Billy, in a moment of carelessness, reveals his elaborate plan to Sally, a plan that he believes will help him destroy Victor Newman and take control of Genoa City. But the truth behind Billy's plan is a calculating ambition and ruthlessness that few people expect. Billy, who has always had boundless ambition, has hatched a grand plan to use the mysterious businessman Aristotle Dumas as a pawn in a game of power. His goal is to pit Victor and Dumas against each other, hoping that they will destroy each other in their struggle for market dominance. Meanwhile, Billy will sit on the sidelines, watching the city's most powerful men destroy each other, while increasing his own power. For Billy, Victor's downfall is not a possible outcome, but a necessary goal. However, what makes Billy's plan so dangerous and calculated is not just that he is seeking to destroy Victor, but the true purpose behind his actions. Billy is not really interested in taking over Chancellor, the traditional company he once belonged to. As he admits in his conversation with Sally, Chancellor is just a means to take down Victor. This was the key point that Phyllis could not ignore. Billy had not only hurt her but also put her relationships with those around her in danger. Phyllis, who had always been waiting for an opportunity to take revenge, could not believe her luck when she heard these words. It was Billy's confession that created the perfect weapon that she could use to achieve her goals. This was an opportunity for her to form an alliance with the very person Billy was plotting against, Victor Newman. Everything was perfect for Phyllis. She knew that if she could use this information to harm Billy, she would not only get revenge but also restore her power in this treacherous world. While Billy continued to plot to destroy Victor, Phyllis listened and calculated her every move. Phyllis was not someone who could be defeated easily. She has been through a lot and knows how to find a way to win, no matter who the opponent is. Phyllis realizes that cooperating with Victor in this situation is not a retreat, but a wise strategy. Using the information from Billy and Sally's conversation, Phyllis is able to turn the tables and make Billy pay for what he has done. During the conversation with Sally, Billy still tries to maintain his confidence, asserting that he is committed to watching Victor from afar, making sure that Victor gets what he deserves. However, Billy's eyes give it all away. Billy is not just ambitious, he has become obsessed with taking Victor down. For him, hurting Victor seems to be a vital goal, and this is not simply a matter of personal revenge. Billy wanted to take down Victor because he thought it was the only way he could rise and take the position he deserved. But Phyllis, with her deep understanding of Billy's character, did not hesitate to recognize this weakness. Billy, with his self-destructive streak like an abyss, had once again put himself in danger. And Phyllis, like a true player, would not let this opportunity slip away. In fact, Billy had made a fatal mistake by discussing his plots against Victor in a public place where Phyllis could easily hear. How many times had Billy suffered defeats because of his own shortcomings? He should have known that these plots could not be discussed carelessly. And now that Phyllis had a powerful weapon in her hands, things would not be as simple as he thought. Phyllis doesn't just want revenge on Billy, she wants to prove that she can come back stronger than ever. Teaming up with Victor isn't just a chance for her to get revenge, it's a strategic move that will help her regain the power she lost. Even if Billy thinks he's succeeded in eliminating Phyllis, her revenge will surely have serious consequences for him. Phyllis and Billy's story, along with their ruthless calculations, will continue to unfold with tension and drama in the upcoming episodes. But one thing is for sure, in the world of the young and the restless, no one can predict who will be the ultimate winner. Phyllis is ready to fight, and Billy will pay the price for the schemes he has planned. After a series of inevitable failures and uncovered plots, Phyllis Summers proves once again that no one can master the power game in Genoa City like her. This time, she not only faces a threat from Billy Abbott, the man she once trusted, but also realizes that, in Billy's weakness and extreme ambition, she finds an opportunity to rise above and form an alliance with the man Billy is plotting against, Victor Newman. The story begins by chance, when Phyllis accidentally overhears a conversation between Billy and Sally Spectra in a public place. Billy, as usual, is neither patient nor cautious when discussing his plans, especially those involving Victor Newman, who is always his target. But this time, Billy slips up and lets Phyllis get all the important information she needs. And this became ammunition for Phyllis in the relentless power struggle. Phyllis heard that Billy, in a moment of ambition, had revealed his plan to Sally. He wanted to pit Victor Newman against the mysterious businessman Aristotle Dumas. Billy's goal was to hope that this fight would lead to the downfall of both sides, while he stood aside and profited from the chaos. Yes, Billy didn't simply want to defeat Victor, he wanted to witness the demise of the man he had always considered the greatest rival in Genoa City's power world. But the most damning part of this plan was Billy's admission that Chancellor, the company he had been associated with for so long, was merely a tool to achieve his main goal, Victor's downfall. Billy had no interest in the company's existence or how it would grow. To him, it was all just a means for him to destroy Victor completely. This not only disgusted Phyllis, but also made her realize that this was her golden opportunity to turn the tables. Phyllis knew that this was the moment she could use the information she had to form an alliance with Victor, the person Billy was planning to attack. She couldn't help but chuckle to herself at the thought of using Billy's schemes to push him into a complete corner. Phyllis was someone who always knew how to take advantage of opportunities and master the game, and she couldn't ignore forming a strategic alliance with Victor to work together to deal with Billy and his schemes. The story became more complicated when Billy continued to show his obsession with Victor. Although he tries to convince Sally that he is completely focused on their new company, his eyes and words say otherwise. Not only is Billy committed to keeping an eye on Victor from afar, he also insists that Victor will get what he deserves. However, it is clear to everyone, especially Phyllis, that Billy is obsessed with defeating Victor, and this is a weakness that Phyllis can exploit. And that is when Phyllis understands that Billy is not only reckless but also prone to self-destruction, something Phyllis has always known and seen through his previous failures. Billy has once again made his biggest mistake, discussing his plan to destroy Victor in a public place where Phyllis is likely to overhear everything. Phyllis has to wonder if Billy has truly learned from his past mistakes. How could he repeat such foolish moves, when everyone around him could easily exploit that information? Phyllis, with her cunning nature, could not let this opportunity pass. She understood that Billy, no matter how smart he was, would always make fatal mistakes when he trusted his abilities too much. And when he opened up to Sally about his dark plans, Phyllis saw an opportunity not only to seek revenge but also to regain lost power. With all the information Phyllis has, she begins to plan to form an alliance with Victor, whom Billy is plotting to destroy. It is not only a battle for power but also a battle of wits between Phyllis and Billy. Phyllis knows that if she can use this information skillfully, she will be able to not only make Billy pay but also help Victor achieve his goals. And of course, this will also help Phyllis regain the power and position she has always desired. The battle between Phyllis, Billy, and Victor will not simply be a battle for the company or property, but will be a battle of intrigue, betrayal, and greed. Each person involved has their own calculations, and no one knows in advance who will be the final winner. However, one thing is clear, Phyllis will never let go of an opportunity. She has suffered too many defeats, but now she has found a powerful weapon to fight back against those who have hurt her. And Billy, perhaps, will face a revenge more powerful than he could have imagined. Phyllis is ready to fight, and she is never one to give up easily.